here, and we'd like to welcome each and every one of you out tonight. Our goal tonight is just simply to be more informed about our candidates that are running and their visions and futures for our county here. At the same time, I would like to say that Ruth M. does not endorse any candidate here tonight. So we got that out of the way. I think let's all stand and consider pledging allegiance to the pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alright, a little rundown of how things are kind of lined up tonight. We will introduce all the candidates in alphabetical order. Each candidate will have a maximum of 4 minutes. After 3 minutes, you will see a sign from this lovely lady saying you have 1 minute left. This is your 45 minute to wrap it up, so to speak. I think I just kind of run myself. All right. We'll go left at each other's right. If time allows, at the end of this candidacy, we will allow for just a quick Q&A of each candidate. Maybe take it, we're going to have to be real kind right here, so we're going to be here all night. So just one at a time, everybody, like I say, be kind in the end. Let's get started with our first candidate. We'll go with, I think, the mayor's first. All right, we will begin with the mayor first, because we just want to start with Shelley Alexander. She's already headed up.
Good afternoon. My name is Shelley Alexander, and I'm running to be your next county mayor. I was born and raised here in Henderson County. My children have been raised here in Henderson County, and my grandchildren are growing up right here with your kids and grandkids. For the last 15 years, I've been a local business owner. I own A Close Bonding here in Lexington, Tennessee. We service 23 counties. We work every day with local law enforcement, with politicians. In the last 5 years, I've been blessed enough to work side by side lobbying with local legislators across the state. Prior to that, I was the general manager of a landfill in Decatur County. I had the landfill, a trucking company, and 8 transfer stations. And the entire time we held the solid waste contract right here for Henderson County. In that time, I didn't just create, but I had to work and manage a multi-million-dollar budget for the 3rd largest solid waste facility in the United States. My vision for Henderson County, and I've caught some flack on this, is I did say our kids need something to do. What I didn't follow that up with is it should not be at the expense of the taxpayers. It should be something that pays for itself or brings in revenue for our county. Our roads need paved. They are in terrible condition. I agree with that. However, we have a highway superintendent that's elected by the people of Henderson County. Do I feel like the mayor should work with him to better these roads? Certainly I do. But I think it's going to be a joint effort. One person cannot make that decision. One person cannot do that work. There is no I in team, and as your mayor, I will promise you, you will see that out of me. I have been president of the Tennessee Association of professional bail agents for the last 5 years. I was the first woman to hold that position. And tonight, I hope I get your vote. And when election comes, I'll be the first female mayor of Henderson County. If you want to know anything about me, I'm very transparent. If I become your mayor, my door will always be open. My phone will either be answered or returned, and your voice will be heard. May God bless you all.
All right, thank you, Shelley. Next we have Jacob Freehan.
Good evening, everyone. I think this room is small enough. I don't believe I need any sort of a microphone to get my point across. I do want to begin by saying thank you to everybody who made this event possible. It's very important that we have events like this because, as I've said in the past, it is very unfair for us as politicians or anybody seeking public office to ask for your vote without spending the time to tell you exactly what it is that we believe. I also want to thank each and every one of you for coming out this evening. I understand there are a lot of things that people might be doing on a very lovely Monday evening, and yet you are here in order to better understand some of the people that are running for very important positions in this county. I appreciate the fact that you care enough about Henderson County and you care enough about our future in order to be here, in order to listen to our perspectives. There are 3 questions that I want you to ask yourselves before you go to the ballot whenever we do begin to vote, whether you're early voting in April or if you are going to vote on Election Day itself on May 5th. Regardless of when you're voting, I want you to try to answer these 3 questions. And depending on how you answer them, that should entirely determine who it is that you're voting for, no matter what the office is. Number 1, who's going to be the candidate that stands up for the values and the principles that you know to be true? I've told people multiple times, and I want to reiterate once again, I'm a proud conservative. I'm very thankful for the opportunity to live in a conservative county, in a conservative state. I believe that taxes need to be low. I believe that government needs to be minimal. I believe that you know how to determine your own life better than a distant bureaucracy does. I think that's very important. Those were the founding fathers' ideals. Those were the ideals of men such as Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon and John Kennedy. It's very important for us to keep in mind. It's very important for us to remember. Who is it that's going to stand up for what you believe? Secondly, I want you to ask yourself, who is it that is a trustworthy individual? That's very important. I have learned that as years as a preacher and as years as a public school teacher, I learned the importance of getting people's trust. Not through any sort of maniacal means, but instead by being honest, by being polite, by being courteous, by being decent. That's all very important. And you do not need to vote for anybody, no matter who it is, no matter what the office is, if you cannot trust him or if you cannot trust her. That's extremely important for each and every one of us to remember. And that is something that you have my word. If I transition, if I have the honor of being able to transition from the schoolhouse to the courthouse, I will do everything within my power in order to gain and in order to keep your trust. Lastly, I want you to ask yourself, what candidates are beholden to powers outside of your interests and outside of the principles that they know to be true? There are so many people that run for political offices who have nothing but personal gain at the forefront of their hearts. You have my word, I am not one of those people. I have no aspirations of advancing myself. There are no other interests that I am beholden to other than your interests, the interests of the people of Henderson County. From Sardis to Wildersville, from Harper's Crossroads to Blue Goose, I want to serve all portions of Henderson County. That's very important. As I said previously, depending on how you answer each and every one of those questions, that should determine who it is that you vote for. We have a good crop of candidates this year. We have a lot of truly good people. That's something that I'm very thankful for, and that's something that I hope all of us can be very thankful for. But depending on how you answer those questions, that will determine who it is that is most worthy of your vote. Thank you for your time. Thank you for coming out, and may God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Robbie McCree.
All right, good evening. Thank you, Rotate Club, for putting this on. It's good for all the candidates to come out. There's a load of us here tonight, so I'm not going to keep you long. Over the past 4 years, it's been an honor to serve as the Henderson County Mayor. It hasn't always been fun, has been challenging, especially working on a limited tax budget. We're the 10th lowest tax county in the state out of 95 counties. So we have to be very frugal in how we manage our money, how our department heads manage the money, and our county commission has done a phenomenal job. I believe we have another commissioner in the House that I've seen tonight. When I first took office, there was 5 goals that I wanted to get done. With that, partnership with the county commission, partnership with the department heads, we were successful in achieving 4 of those goals. Number 1 was establish a planning commission. Our county's grown at a rate that we're going to see in the next several years, that if we don't manage certain aspects of our community the way we feel like hold the values of our community, others will come in and dictate that for us. So we're proud to have a planning commission to establish where we can have plans and services attached to our new developments. Another thing was our solid waste. Solid waste in Henderson County, at one point you had to go to the city and pay to dispose of your trash, any large items. Well, with the county commission, we purchased a new roll-off truck with the ARPA money we have. We cut the middleman out of waste management. So now if you have a mattress or a Texas drawer, you can go to one of the 3 centers at Arlington, the main one at Big Drive, or in Regan to dispose of that at no cost. So that's been a huge blessing for us. It has actually cut down on our illegal dumping almost entirely. So it's been a blessing. That allows us, the highway department, instead of going out policing our roads for litter, for them to do other things. So the broadband for the entire county, yes, this was already going on prior to me taking office. We inherited this money from the ARPA. LexNet, the city of Lexington issued a bond, put LexNet all that to the county. However, there were certain pockets that did not. So recently, we just partnered with Spectrum Charter Communications, and those of you who live near Roothammer Road, Judge McCullough Road, they did not have access. Didn't have LexNet. They did not have Southwest Utilities. They have Carroll County Electric. So we partnered with Spectrum. Now every home out there has high-speed internet that has availability. In addition, they did not have gas on them roads. So within 6 months, we had natural gas ran to every house there, and they have a new paved road on Roothammer. So we spent a lot of money in the District 1 area of the county. In addition, you come out here with this parking lot, it's smooth. You can actually rollerblade on this. County Commission allocated, we earmarked $50,000. We managed our money where this could be done for the citizens of Parkers Crossroads. Moving forward, some of the things that I have planned, yes, the highway department is underfunded in a lot of ways. In 2018, I was the public works director for Lexington. $75 a ton is what was asphalt. Now it's up at $130 a ton. That doesn't help his budget. The county only allocates just about $200,000. So I've got a plan. The jail will be paid off in 2029. That's going to free up our wheel tax of $40, about $1.1 million a year. I've got a plan in place that we can do a massive resurfacing project across the county. In addition, repair some much needed things on our jail, because we have that building now. And lastly, communications for our law enforcement officers and first responder and fire department. Put new tagging radio systems in all their units to help on the calls and on the safety. And lastly, I know this is the north end of the county, but I was very successful working with the Brayton Healthcare. We have a new EMS ambulance station going in Scottsdale in about 2 weeks. So thank you guys for your time. I'm out of time, so thank you so much.
Darren McDaniel.
Well, he said my name's Loveland this weekend. My name is Darren McDaniel, and I'm running for Henderson County Mayor. I've lived in Parkers Crossroads for 45 years, and I believe we need infrastructure in our county. Infrastructure will bring more jobs in our county, and it'll have better wages and more job opportunities. It'll support growth and housing in our county. It also will keep young people and our generation and families from moving outside our county. It makes more money and spending more money in our local government, which makes more restaurants and shop local here. And also it gives people more of a chance to see everybody and spend more time. In return, more money for our schools, roads, and growth in our county. I also believe we need a multi-purpose facility in our county. would have a positive impact in our county. It would show economic growth and it would boost local revenue. It also would hold events like trade shows, youth sporting tournaments, school competitions, concerts, community events, horse shows, cattle shows, and rodeos. It also would be an emergency center to build like shelters and everything, like when storms comes through, and it'd be a disaster relief forum. You know, it being used as an in-place shelter, like a warning and cooling center, you know, when an ice storm or a tornado event would come through. And bottom line, it will boost local economy, strengthen emergency preparedness, and support youth and workforce development. And overall, it'll be an improved, you know, quality of life in our county. So basically, Henderson County, we need to grow and develop our county in ways that we need certain things, and like roads and growth, that basically we just all strive to do better for ourselves. That's all I have. Thank you.
Blake Mitchell.
Hello, everyone. Thank y'all for coming out, and thank y'all for having me. I am not running on the Republican ticket. I'm running as an independent candidate, so I got a lot of back. Are you a Democrat? No, I'm not. I said I am fiscally conservative. I'm a Christian. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to get into office to better serve you. I am not politically correct a whole lot of times, but I'll tell you exactly what I think to your face when you ask me. I don't really beat around the bush a whole lot. And what I'm trying to get in here to do is put my skill set and expertise to work for you. At the end of the day, I've got a background in accounting. I've got minors in economics, finance, supply chain, and marketing. And so I am trying to put my understanding of business and finance knowledge to work for you so that we don't see increased taxes. A lot of people will promise you they're not going to do that. They don't have the ability to do it. And there's a big difference between promising and actually walking that. At the same time, I'm actually a licensed practicing attorney as well. And I've got a general contractor license. So I understand assets, infrastructure, and how to go about building and constructing things that we desperately need. I have connections with a lot of our local politicians, and also connections with our state legislature. And like I said, that's because I work with them to fight for more liberty for you and less government. And so I've tried to back down TDOT when they come in and try to take over people's commercial driveways and cut them off from access. I've also worked with them to understand what the law is so that they don't continue to oversee people and try to instill their will on them. At the end of the day, it's the way the law is written right now, it's supposed to keep you to having a permit and not have it to where they can just freely take it from you. The next thing I can do is actually advocate for grants effectively. I am big on driving outcomes through numbers and data. I am not big on I feel, I think, and this and that. I know how to reduce this stuff to writing so that we can be effective in obtaining grants and money. Because at the end of the day, we don't have a lot of funding here to do a lot of necessary infrastructure things in it. And so if we don't get that outside funding from the state or federal government to go about and increasing our revenue source or our funding available for our infrastructure, we can't do a lot of these projects. Our roads are in rough shape. We need some funding to come in here to once again take care of them so that we can have something that's nice to drive on. This is the day you want to know why we're not having people come in here and invest and build things. It's because as soon as you hit the county line, you start realizing, wow, we don't invest here. The roads are terrible. You beat your head off the top of the roof every time you drive down the road. It's awful. You drive on most of these county roads, it's the exact same way. There is limited funding, though, that we have right now to take care of a lot of this stuff, and it is expensive to do it. And so we've got to be able to advocate effectively for additional grants. And so I'm wanting to come here and put my skill set and knowledge to use for you and to fight for liberty and less government. And so I appreciate your vote.
Mr. Gary Griffin. Okay. Now we'll move on to the sheriff's candidates. Let's start with Mr. Brad Atkins.
Good evening, folks. I'm Brad Atkinson. Born and raised here in Henderson County out west. Been here for 54 years in Lexington. Been a police officer for 26 years. What I'm bringing to the trooper for 26 years in the police department together. what I bring to Henderson County as a sheriff, the proactive law enforcement. Does proactive work? Yes, it does. How can I prove proactive work? It's worked in big cities like Memphis. The crime rate's down in Memphis. I mean, you can Google it for yourself. Also, proactive works in our community, in this small county like Henderson County. And how does it work there? You know, we stop cars, we talk to people, we interview, do it professional, bring professionalism with us, have integrity, and talking to people and proactive stuff. And you know, it produces big stuff. Some of my biggest cases come from proactive policing right out here on the interstate. One of the biggest cases was 826 pounds off a minor traffic stop, not just a few years ago. And a couple of other ones, 44 pounds come off of cocaine, come off a CLV commercial motor vehicle. 78 pounds, one of the biggest stops I ever had. And matter of fact, I got awarded a largest cocaine seizure in 2023 for 74 pounds of cocaine on a minor traffic stop with a headlight violation. And stops like this, you know, you might not get them in this county, but what you can get is somebody that's going to steal something at your house. You know, it stops a lot of the crimes going on around our community. Being proactive and being visible to our community is going to mean a lot to resolve some of our crimes and keep crimes down. Drugs, if we can get control over drugs revolves around all crimes just about. There's a very few crimes you can name to me that is not related to drugs. Whether they're on drugs when they're committed, whether they're committed trying to get drugs, or drugs that within itself, you know, selling drugs or something. Drugs revolves around about all crimes. Second thing I want to do, I'm fixing to go to the jail, and I'm fixing to clean the jail. How am I going to do that? I'm going to carry Jesus back to that jail. First, it may not be me, but I'm going to make it available so it can happen. I've talked to some people. I think First Baptist Church, I don't think they baptized nobody up there in 2 years. First Pentecost Church bought the baptistry up there. I think they baptized 20, 25 people in 2022. And from what I heard, Ronnie County baptized nobody up there in 2 years. How can we talk about recidivism and getting them saved? Because you can give them all amount of money in the world, but if they don't want to straighten up, they can't. But if they find Jesus, they will. And that's one of the biggest things I'm going to do there. As a matter of fact, it's going to be the first thing to do. Is go clean our jail up and start working on that jail. And then it's going to be the proactive policing. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to be in the community with these guys. I'm going to be available for the people. I'm also going to be approachable. You approach me when you see me. I'm not going to be out here hiding stuff. If you want me, I'm going to be a working sheriff. One of the things I am not going to be is a political sheriff. I'm not going to be a sheriff for the Republicans. I'm not going to be a sheriff for the Democrats or the Independents. I'm going to be your sheriff. And your vote, your support, I appreciate it. And thank you.
Tracy Grissom. Good evening. I am Tracy Grisham, and I'm going to be your sheriff for Henderson County. What do I bring to the table? Between 29 years and 30 years. It's 29 years and some months of experience. I've been a patrolman, lieutenant, sergeant, captain, investigator, and chief of police. As chief of police, I can talk about it. There we go. As chief of police, I had to learn to develop and manage a budget. Yes, it was a small budget, but you had to live within it. That's a big part of a sheriff's job. If you can't manage that budget, you're going to have to go to a group of commissioners that have a really tough job and explain why I've overspent my budget. And I don't think they're going to be very happy if you had to do this. And how do I know this? I was a county commissioner once too. I served on the budget committee for 2 years. I realize what it takes to approve those budgets that are submitted. And if the money's not there, that nasty little 3-letter word oftentimes has a big raise.
And it starts with T and ends with X. And I don't want mine raised. If yours goes up, mine goes up. I don't want that. What are some plans I have for this county? I've worked for 5 different sheriffs, and I got good habits from all 5 of them. I've probably seen some bad habits with all 5 of them, but I picked up good habits from all 5. One thing was, we zoned the county, and we still try to do that now, but we're so short-staffed, you can't hardly do it. We've got to fix that turnover problem. I have plans for the employees, a peer support group, no cost to the county. A debriefing system after a critical incident, no cost to the county. We use it now, but I would like to see it made mandatory where nobody has to be embarrassed saying, hey, this incident bothered me. If it's mandatory on critical incidents, they go. And nobody knows if they need it or not. I want to support them in more ways than that and become a family. When I started here in '96, when our shift was off, we usually spent one of our off days together. And you don't see that anymore. I'd like to see that return. Become one big family. I want the community policing enhanced. And yes, we've got a drug problem. And yes, every crime we work typically boils down to drugs. I was a DARE instructor, and I see one former DARE instructor in here as well. That is one of the hardest schools I ever attended, to become an instructor. It takes a special person to teach DARE, but I'd like to offer it in our schools. I'm also a lead instructor, and we have several others. That's law enforcement against drugs. It's a drug awareness program. I wouldn't care to see both of them talk. That's the plans I have. Higher visibility, accessibility, and proactive. Thank you. Oh, by the way, I'm asking everybody in here for your vote.
Mr. Richard King.
Hey everybody, thanks for having us. Thanks for taking part in this, and you're going to get a lot of good information from all these candidates. But I'm Richard King, and I served 21 years in Madison County Sheriff's Office. I worked my way from corrections all the way through the ranks to admin sergeant in special services. In special services, I managed many units, many teams. I was a part of building teams and managing their budgets. One of the things that I did was grants. Managing grants, there's a good way to offset the cost of taxpayers in this county. I think if we focus on getting as many grants as we possibly can, it can make a big difference in the budget, right? And as sheriff, one of the first things I'm going to do is work with fiscal responsibility, work with the finance director, work with the county commission, and going line by line through our budget and seeing what's effective and what's not. And adjust, right? Second thing I'm going to do is I want to work with our training officers, like Tracy pointed out, about training. It's very crucial. Training is one of the ways that we ensure that our deputies are doing the right thing. When they're out there working domestics, working robberies, working the case, whether or not you touch DNA, using technology that we're not right now using properly, using that kind of stuff, using TBI, using the lab. Then I want to work on that kind of off there on that one. But anyway, but what I want to do is provide that training so we better ensure that our people are actually doing the right thing on the streets. Like everybody mentioned, being proactive. Yes, traffic stops is a way we can assure that we're being out there and enforcing the law. Traffic stops, when we're working the streets, you come across all kinds of stuff. You come across drugs, you come across stolen property. When a deputy makes a stop, they look beyond the stop, they are going to come across something. In the jail. The jail is one of our biggest problems. If we just lock people up, that's all we're going to get. We're all we go. We're going to have to continue the programs that Dwayne and Ryan and Seagull have put in place to teach people life skills. get them the training and education they need to be more successful, be better civilians, right? Because if we don't do anything about it, it's just going to be a revolving door, and they're going to continue to cost taxpayers money when they're out of jail. And finally, I've got to get in there and change the culture. Culture is everything. In my current job at GDI, I manage 325 people, 4 divisions, and $19.5 million budget. I know for a fact that policies and procedures do matter. Standards matter. If we don't establish high standards for our deputies to meet, they're not going to produce anything. We've got to hold them accountable. Culture is what sets us apart in everything. If we're not holding our people accountable and having that culture where we demand success, not failure, that's all we're going to get. That's all I got to say about it, as far as that's concerned. But I think if we focus on what needs to be focused on, keeping taxpayers' money down, we'll be successful turning this department around. Thank you. Have a good night.
Mr. Terry Moody.
Hello everybody, I'm Terry Moody Sr. I'm running for sheriff of Henderson County. I've been a lifelong resident of Henderson County. I started out a small business owner. I began law enforcement in 2009. Worked my way up to road deputy, worked in court security. Went on to the road deputy. Made sergeant overnight shift for a couple of years. Now I currently serve as a school resource officer. My plan for the sheriff is simple, to get back to the basics. We need to be proactive on the back roads, the county roads, where we're not seen out in the county. To addition to this, we need to be doing security checks on businesses and churches, not only on day shift, but night shift also. Every person in this county is important and should be safe and protected. I will work alongside the deputies. I have an open door policy. My goals would be for SROs in every school in Henderson County. I will continue to support that. Provide more training, dealing with de-escalation courses and active shooter training. Young people are truly our future and they deserve to feel safe at school. There's a lot of things we can do in school to make this happen. We do have some great programs already with the sheriff department, like the re-entry program. It helps, like he was saying, it helps the inmates seek the help that they need when the time is up to get back into society. The drug problem is bad here in Henderson County. I developed a plan. I believe we need to put a drug task force back in Henderson County, where they work in Henderson County only. We've had that years and years ago, and it worked extremely well. And we can do this at no extra cost to the budget or the taxpayers. We just need to utilize our current resources. That's how we can do it to keep the taxes down. So I'm like everybody else, I don't want my taxes going up. So I will continue to be looking for cost-effective ways to update, upgrade, and improve equipment for the deputies and the correction officers. There are numerous 100% grant opportunities that we can be applying for. The re-entry program is an awesome program. We need to keep that going and look for better ways to improve it. Also, we have another major problem in the county, dealing with the animals running at large. We got some good programs going there. We need to reach out and do some more on that. And I'll be willing to do whatever I can. I have spoken to some animal shelters around in different communities also that's working on this. to try to get that program going to help everybody in the county. This is only a small sample of my plans when elected sheriff. As your sheriff, I will always have an open door policy and be honest and transparent about department operations. Keep in mind, this is not a one-man show. We have to have teamwork. Teamwork is what makes it happen. I will be mindful of taxpayers' money. I will operate the service office with honor, dignity, and transparency. And most important, I'll be a sheriff for everyone. I humbly ask for your prayers, support, and vote as your next sheriff. You can contact me at any time you need to. I'm always available. Thank you and God bless.
Larry Stigall.
Good afternoon, I'm Larry Stigall. I'm a Henderson County native. My entire career has been spent serving this county at the sheriff's office. My career began in 1983 and I have served under several different sheriffs. I have watched this county grow, and with this growth, many changes to the department. Currently, we have about 20 different programs that are available to our inmates, from adult ed, parenting program, faith-based recovery program, to re-entry program. These programs are grant funded or through partnerships with county, state, and nonprofit agencies. I'd like to highlight our success program and services that have led to decrease in repeat offenders. In 23, our re-offender rate was 41%. In 24, it was 24%. And last year, it was 8%. That is a 92% success rate for individuals that have participated in our program offered in the jail. Because we want others to be successful, we applied for an opioid grant, which has not yet been awarded. We applied for it last week. This program will help with addiction, healing, and learning the pathways to self-improvement through housing, employment, and life skills. Should you choose me to be your sheriff, this program will continue. And I will work harder to find additional programs through grants made available. Because I have 4 decades in this department, I know what it takes to keep the department running successful for jailers, patrol, investigations, and administration. I know what has to be done to keep the community safe and stay within the $6.4 million budget allotted by the county commission and the county taxpayers. The budget keeps patrol officers, investigators, correctional officers, and school resource officers working together to keep our community safe and our children protected while they're learning. I will continue keeping officers in our schools. When school is not a session, the officers will be visible out in the county, helping other officers and ensuring the overall county is a safe place for citizens and their children. I will work to ensure the gaps are filled with the staff we need, ensuring training includes de-escalation techniques for those suffering from mental health issues. Battling addiction and potential dangerous situations to keep our officers safe to go home to their own family. I will work with county leadership to ensure we are serving the citizens. It's always an honor to see smiles on the children's faces at our community events. April is Child Abuse Awareness Investigator. Child Abuse Awareness Month, and our seat at the table for Child Abuse Investigator team is critical for holding offenders accountable when they are children. I'm appreciative of the work the investigators do with state and federal officials at Carl Perkins Center, of which we will continue. As sheriff, it will be my responsibility to make smart, goal-driven improvements that will require careful budgeting, partnership with other agencies, and increased training to keep my staff fulfill the need of our citizens. Early voting starts April 15th, and I would appreciate your vote.
Before we start, question.
You doing all right?
I know there's been a whole lot of disturbing thoughts about being qualified to vote in this election. It's my understanding that we have to sign an affidavit. So if anybody wants to come up and tell us a little bit more about that and how that's going to work, we do have a lawyer and he's volunteered, so that'd be great.
So, Tennessee recently passed a law, it says you have to be a bona fide Republican, in order to vote in the primaries. It's going to be posted at all your voting places, polling places. It shows on the wall, where you have to be bona fide and affiliated with the party. Bona fide means that you voted in 3 of the last 4 Republican primaries, and affiliated means that, like, since you donated or have registered with the party or something along that line. Because what's happening is they're trying to close off the primary system. Right now we have what's considered open primaries. I mean, you could 1 year vote in a Republican, 1 year you can vote in a Democrat, you can go back and forth or whatever. Well, they're trying to cut that out. They don't want you to cross party lines. And so they've actually got something going around the House now where they're talking about doing a closed primary system where you'll essentially become a card-carrying member. You'll go online and register with the party so that you can vote in that primary. When they come up and when you go to a polling place and ask, I want to get a Republican ballot, you're going to have to pull out your card and show it to them at some point in time for the closed primary system. Right now, they don't have that, and that's one of the things talking with the election commission that they're not real sure how it's going to function this year because they're nonpartisan. They don't want anything to do with that. They just want to be able to hand you your ballot that you asked for. And so they're not going to go out there and look, hey, if you voted in 3 of the last 4 and see if you're a Republican, bona fide Republican or not. That's part of the reason, just FYI, why I did not run for the Republican Party. I looked it up when I was told that and given my packet, and I've been voting in 2 of the last 4 Republican primaries. All it takes is 3 members of the party to kick you off the ballot if you're not considered bona fide. And so I wasn't going to give them $250, which is what it costs as a donation if you're running for mayor, and then get kicked off the ballot. Like I said, that wasn't for me. I'm pretty conservative with my money and frugal with it, and so I didn't want to take that risk. At the end of the day, though, it does subject you possibly to a fine, and there's other misdemeanor charges that could go with it. I'm not sure how they're actually going to police that. But it will be posted at your polling place if it is TCA law at this point in time.
So is there going to be an affidavit we sign?
That is correct. Yes, you will sign an affidavit that says you swear up and down that you are a bona fide member of the Republican Party affiliated with it. Yes.
Is that a state law or just a
We've got the Republican Party We got the Republican Party chairman right here, Vice Chair.
That's very active, by the way. If these are Republican Party chairs, they might be explaining a little further, but I was trying to cause people off by surprise.
Is that a state law?
It is.
Is it a new law or just one they decided to enforce now?
No, it's a new law passed in 24-25.
What Blake said is correct. We had a lot of problems with the terminology of bona fide, and I went through a lot of ordeal with that. That's not the way it turned out, too. Because a lot of people had not been voting in the Republican primaries. And you do, under the law, you have to be 3
3 out of the 4 last Republican primaries. And technically, if you had not done that, they could keep you off the ballot. So, I didn't necessarily like that. But it is, they did pass it, they didn't ask me to do anything about it. But it is the law. But discussing my case rather candidly, I guess. And we observed, we had a waiver this time. So everybody that is on the ballot could stay on the ballot. And that may not be the case anymore. But this time we did receive a waiver. The ballot is set. Go up there and vote. And so the next time, next go around, you're not bona fide unless they change something. You may not be, the candidate may be off the ballot, you know. So it's important if you're going to run for as a Republican that you vote in the Republican primaries. That's the main thing. So that's what I'm saying.
Do the Democrats have a similar law?
Hmm?
The Democrats have a similar law.
I don't know. I don't follow Democrats. I don't keep up with Democrats. I don't know.
Who is they to pass this?
The legislature, state legislature. Yeah, the party lobbying party in the morning, that's what they pass it.
State did that. We were notified after the fact on that.
I don't understand how they can pass it just as much.
The calendar is posted online for every bill that runs through our legislators. It's Tennessee General Assembly. You can search for keywords. There was a bill that recently it was going to allow felons to vote. All you had to do was sign an affidavit that you were going to set up a payment plan on your fines and court costs. It was withdrew March the 26th. If you go to tn.gov, go to legislation, click legislation keyword or bill number search, you can type in child support and find and select bill. Not resolution or not law, but you can search for any bill that's up. Now keep in mind, legislation is coming to a close. Our Senate Criminal Justice had closed last week and they just reopened today for 6 bills to pass through. So you're limited because our legislators are also campaigning. So they're trying to get out of session as quick as possible. But go to Tennessee General Assembly and search for bills of any topic that interests you and you can track those. You can even mark those as favorites and get notifications on those. That would be my advice. Rather it be election laws, if it be criminal justice, child support, drugs, because there is a bill right now going to the, I believe it's already made it to the Senate floor and it's going to the House floor to do away with crime, and that's the best law they could pass this session. It will fully be illegal, but I highly encourage you all to track that.
Okay, the point I'm trying to make here is if you're going to run for office as a Republican, you need to be a bona fide candidate. It's 3 out of 4 in the primaries. We did get away with this time. I doubt that will happen again, so just be mindful when you vote on your primaries. Thank you.
Okay, I was going to announce the Q&A time. I believe my sweet brother started off with her question, and some other family members chipped in. So what I'm thinking about doing, let's take a sheriff's question first from the crowd and give each sheriff candidate, if they want to comment on it, let's do that, and let's do it in a timely manner, guys. Nobody gets 5, nobody gets 1 minute.
And then we'll ask a mayor question. So, let's go like that. Let's start off with the sheriff's question. Anyone need a mic? I'll bring it to you. Don't everybody jump.
I got a comment, I don't think of mine, I think any one of the candidates, sheriff, what do you think the general public view of the law enforcement is now in view of hardly a month goes by that you don't see some in the news about police misconduct? How do you think the general public views law enforcement now? Anybody?
Well, right now, it's all full of opinion, right? You know, bad things happen, and bad actors out there, that's why training's so crucial. We gotta focus on how we train our guys, make sure we're doing it the right way, right? Because what we do on the street reflects on across the state, across the country, everywhere. I think if we go back to training and focusing on the new hires and getting them better trained, better equipped to do their job, we'll see where it's.
When I first started, when a police officer took me to stand, went under oath, what he said was gospel. What did I say, 12 years ago? Now, we have to have video to go with our testimony. So that's telling me the public perception of us is not what it used to be. Part of that is training. Part of it's training. Have I seen news articles of bad belief? Yeah, I do that. But I hope we don't have any here. It all comes through training and getting the right people in the right place. But yes, public perception is the way that
I also agree with Tracy on the video, although I kind of disagree a little bit on it, because, you know, it's our patrol. I mean, they are definitely by the book. Any law enforcement in the state is by the book, it's our patrol. They want me to have my camera on, and I'm going to have it on, or I'm going to be punished for not having it on. But sometimes there's instances when they don't work. But I also like looking at that video camera, because sometimes a civilian might lie on the law enforcement. And once I see that, me personally, the person lying on the police, he's going to be prosecuted. That's what gives us a bad name sometimes. It's not the law enforcement in general, although I'm with Tracy, some are, but very few are, you know, it's true. There's just a few. Running few and midgets. Mostly lazy ones down there, but you know, the video cameras not to protect us too. It's also when they come in and lie on us to tell the truth for us. And if I'm ever sure, if one of the publics comes lies on my officer, that will be handled. They will be informed of that, and, you know, when they come in. But I already, if I'm talking to you, I'm already know what's going on, because I've done watched that video.
Do all the sheriff's deputies have body cams?
Yes, they do. And just like you said, we get complaints, first thing I do is pull that video. We'll pull that video. If you have to sign a statement saying when you come in there and complain on some of that, you're under oath. So we pull that video and we find out that you're lying on our officers, then you get charged. But now I understand what you're saying, and social media is the world's worst for police officers. Now there are some bad ones out there, I agree with you. Some of them don't want to wear their cameras, but the ones that don't work for us. They're all supplied by. Some people turn the cameras off and does other things, and they get caught.
Any other questions? Give me just a moment. We have a few commissioners here that I failed to get up here. I think Mr. Mark is here. Mr. Mark James? Yeah. Also, Mr. Jeff Mayer, since his regard, he come down with something sick, said was hated that he couldn't make it. Also, Mr. Junior Carter is one of our commissioners, and he is currently at Vanderbilt with his sister. She's in surgery right now, so that's not why he's here. But let's go to Mr. Mark.
Thank you.
what's going on right here at Carter Crossroads. And the sheriff's department, I want all the ones running for sheriff, now, I know there's a drug problem. But the major problem we're having right here at Crossroads is speeding, moving violations. When I take my daughter to school, there's times we both sit here. They're not getting tickets. I sit there at that cross guard 2 weeks ago, pulling in to Beaver. I was doing speed limit 30. Somebody blew past me and Ted just sat there. I said something to them at the office about it. They said it happens all the time. They don't give tickets out. Right here, you going from Wilderville Road. How many people live in Wilderville? When going from Wilderville to Union Crossroads, you take your life in your hands to go across there. Same vice versa. They not up in Clarksburg. They don't mess around in Clarksburg. Same thing used to happen here. And I've heard it from many people. They're tired and don't want to give them tickets out. Now, we're going to talk about infrastructure. Everyone's talking about these new businesses that we need to bring in, how things need to be this, we're going to bring new tax money. Beaver School and Burlington School are probably the oldest schools in this county. I know we can't buy it overnight, can't buy it in a year, but we need to set an account aside for maybe a 10 or 15 year project and build a new school. I've been building houses for 30 years. It will be this October. Where I build houses at, communities come around, new schools. Everyone's talking about we need new houses, we need new developments. If you build a new school, they will come. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but something needs to be happening. You go to Beaver, I don't know if anyone's listened to when I had it on James Bell. It was raining one day and they had the bucket brigade out trying to catch water. And we need to have schools that aren't built by Frank Lloyd Wright. We need ones with a roof on them. I could go beat a dead horse all day. There's a whole list of things. But those two things, when y'all are talking about the sheriffs, the ones running for sheriff, and then the mayor's talking about the infrastructure, those two are the ones that bother me the most. And those are the ones that hit me tonight, and that's the ones I need to talk about. When I'm your commissioner, if you vote me in, I'll do my best to keep your taxes low, but we're going to have to do something about our schools. I've been remodeling houses for 10 years. I used to build new houses, now I'm on the remodeling thing. It costs more money to remodel, takes more to upkeep. Be nice to have a new school. And have one big school to replace Barton and Beaver together instead of having two. Barton's got his problems with the waste system. We need one school. And we need to have it where all the children in this county can go there. My daughter was denied school here. It hurts me up. I pay my taxes. I just want everybody to know. If you pay your taxes here, your child should be allowed to go here. That's all I have to say. And I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
We also have a little conference of trustees. I sent a few in here. Mr. John, you want to get up here and say something, bud? Yeah. My grandpa. Governor's here too, but we'll get him after Mr. Cadmus.
I've had the honor of serving
I've had the honor of serving as county trustee for the past 2 terms. The county trustee's office functions as a county banker. You work with every department, receiving and managing funds from local, state, and federal forces, including sales tax, and distributing those funds to the departments and jurisdictions where they belong. Along with my staff, take great pride in running an efficient, detail-oriented office.
working together to maintain high standards. We've achieved clean audits every year during my time as county trustee. I've also worked closely with the county mayor to strengthen how we manage county funds. Together, we've increased the county interest earnings by more than $3 million, with most of the interest going directly to the county's general funds to support important services. That's pretty much it.
Okay, Mr. Montgomery.
I don't like microphones, so they be coming here. I'd just like to say thank you to the Rotary Club for this opportunity. I don't think we were on the list, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak. My name is Mark Montgomery. I know several people in this county. I worked at First Farmers Co-op for almost 38 years, and I've got to know many people in this county. My wife Stephanie and me, we have raised our family here, and this community means a great deal to us. While I was working at the co-op, I have been the location manager, store manager, whatever you call it, for almost 20-something years, 20 plus years. And during this time, I've gained extensive experience managing many of the same things that will be the responsibilities for the trustee's office. And my work has included, I've handled deposits, budgeting, ordering supplies, merchandise, supervising employees, and accurate inventory control. I've also had the opportunity to work closely with many of the big farmers here in this county. And many people don't realize how much money they spend in this county and how many taxes they pay. Throughout my career, I've always believed in hard work, serving people well, and doing things with honesty and integrity. I've had the fortune to receive the recognition a few times of having one of the best customer services. That's one of my pet peeves. I've always wanted to feel like the customers, make them feel welcome, and to do the best I can to service them. Henderson County has been a wonderful place for me and my family to live, work, and grow. I'm excited about the opportunity to give back and serve this community in a new way. It will truly be an honor for me to serve the citizens of Henderson County as your new trustee. And I greatly appreciate your support and vote beginning on April 15th and for sure by May 5th. Thank you.
Just now, we'll take another mayor's question. Anyone? A question they want to ask?
It's a known in this county that nobody wants new taxes. We hear it all the time. We have a planning commission, I think I mentioned earlier, but no new taxes, a no. But what do we want? I don't see that being put out by anyone. What is it that we're seeking for Henderson County? What is our vision? And the planning commission is good, but what is feeding the planning commission? That's my question to the mayors. What do we want? What are we willing to spend on? Where's that collectiveness? Who's listening? Can you share that?
The first thing is, we need to figure out why we're not appealing to factories and corporations. The people in this county need somewhere to work locally. Most of our citizens are traveling to Madison County, now Chester County. Chester County is taking a lot of our factory workers. Decatur County, I know some people are traveling all the way to Perry County. We need to know why we're not appealing to these corporations to bring that money back into our county and provide within. An event center, multi-use facility, call it what you will. Some friends of mine show cattle, friends of mine show horses, and they travel all over the state as well as other states to do so, but nothing ever comes into Henderson County. Can we afford for the taxpayers to pay that? increase to provide it? No, but I think we can partner with organizations to get enough grants to cover it and make it a revenue stream, as long as we keep it busy enough, and the only way that'll happen will be the citizens supporting it. Again, there is no I&T, but I think between the kids coming up, the adults that are into rodeoing, or into concerts, or senior citizens being able to play bingo, it's gonna take a group effort, but we can make it happen.
Any other candidate?
Yes, we have to have transparency. We have to have the building. That has to have to grow. As far as getting paid for, the Department of Ag will pay for it. That's how Selmer got theirs. Like the events, like she said, the cattle show, the horse show, the events. We have to have something to have growth here. It's going to bring industry in. That's going to help us with our taxes and everything else. So you work on two functions. You either have growth or you have taxes. If you don't have growth, you got to have tax. That's how government works. So if you don't want taxes, you better have growth coming in. And the more growth you have, the industry coming in, you have more people coming in, which reverses more spending and everything else. People won't buy houses, build houses, rent. So in return, you have more industry and more people spending locally. So that works out for everybody here in this room. You know, there's farmers here. I know the Lewisons here, they raise a lot of cattle. I know when the cattle prices go up, people here that have pharmacies, that people are spending. Everybody will benefit. More people, more spending locally. You know, when you shop, eat restaurants locally. It just makes everybody happy. When the circle goes around, that's basically how it is. Thank you.
I'll go ahead and chime in on this and I'll come up with it. So, Jason, thank you for asking that question. The planning commission was initially brought up, and I actually had to go to Nashville, set it on the carpet for the state planning commission to request one from Henderson County. Why it came up, we have timber companies that's been in this community for decades. They're selling out to investors that live in Texas, live in New York, and they're doing GIS overlays on these properties, thousands of acres, and they're marketing our county for sight unseen, off-the-grid living. No septics, no sewers, unapproved roads, and then our first responders are going in, they're having to go in sometimes with dozers to get these people out, pull them out, different things like that. So a planning commission established now has stopped undeveloped growth like that. Why do we want growth? Well, we want industry, right? Everybody wants industry. The city IDB board, the Industrial Development Board, offers tax incentives to these corporations coming in that are coming to Jackson, and they offer them what they call a pilot, payment in lieu of taxes. So the idea, the premise behind this, instead of them paying taxes on the land, the companies paying taxes on the land and on the personal property tax inside the building, the assets, they pump their payroll into the community because they bring this business in and they bring the payroll into the community, okay? The problem we have is we have no labor bid. One day I drove around the plants, I just drove around the parking lot circling. I saw the Decatur County tags, Hardin County tags, Chester County tags, Carroll County tags, Madison County tags, and believe it or not, I saw Hastings County. These people are coming into our community to work. We're offering these tax incentives, this payroll coming in that's designed for people to live here, right? But when they take the payroll, they go to other communities spending. So we're not seeing the benefits locally of this businesses coming in and manufacturers coming in locally. Yes, there's some jobs and we've got a lot of people are going out. But the businesses that we offer these tax incentives to, we're not benefiting. Why are we not benefiting? We don't have the housing for it. We don't have the housing. So with the planning commission coming in, the idea behind this is, the premise behind it is, we establish fundamentally good growth subdivisions that have planned services attached, that have the roads, that have gas, that have access to water. And when you get these permits, when you get water, you have to have a sewer permit. Currently in the state of Tennessee, unless you have direct water access, you don't have to have a septic permit. So these sight unseen, off the rivers, living groups, they have what they call like campers and things of that nature, and I'm not against a camper. My brother lives in one right over here. You know, he's got a septic tank though. They're saying, hey, we can't pump, you know, we're getting these pumps. I call them lovely. Oh, I didn't know there was no time. So the idea is, so when these taxes come in, like we built a 72 home subdivision, much like the TIF we had, they got annexed inside the city of Lexington, and they got voted down by the county commission because of the TIF or property taxes. I mean, we're going to continue to get the property tax we always got, but the problem is we missed all the sales tax. Missed it. That means Webb's Auto, for instance, they're not going to get customers at the mechanic shop. That means the Sonic's not going to get customers at the Sonic. Food Giant, everybody tracking? And then our school system, like he mentioned, when these people come in, we've got to think, okay, we're going to have a 72 home subdivision. We need to start looking at our school system. So taxes, sales tax is what funds our school system, funds our community. It gives people a choice. Sales tax, I can spend $1,000 on a cell phone, or I spend $50 on a flip phone. You have the choice of how much you want to spend. So it's all a big ball of wax. But it all stands, planning commission, you've got to have growth, you've got to have a plan, or you're going to get a bunch of cameras. So, thank you.
Something that I do want to add very briefly to the conversation. I promise I won't take too much of your time because I think all the other mayor candidates cover this issue really well. When people are talking about not raising taxes, sometimes that's buzzword for a lot of Republican candidates to say just to get more votes. That's a very important reality for a lot of people living in Henderson County. When I've been knocking doors, a lot of people that tend to answer the doors are retirees. And when they answer the doors and I have conversations with them, one of the biggest concerns that they have are property taxes. Because they are living, oftentimes, they are living on fixed incomes. So when we're looking at the future and we're talking about, well, you know, there are these great things that we want to do, but maybe we have to raise taxes. There are grants available we can utilize in order to be able to spend more money without trying to raise taxes, certainly without trying to raise property taxes. People, especially over the age of 70 or 75, those people are already, they have budgetary problems as a whole, living on fixed income. So we need to make sure that we're just keeping that in mind. Like I said, it is a buzzword, like the idea of just not raising taxes. But for some people, it's a very important reality that we need to take into consideration. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, at this time, we're going to do 2 more, one more for the sheriff and then the...
That's not, I just add to that real quick, just kind of explain a little bit. I apologize, I'll try to be pretty. So jobs factors and industry bringing stuff in here. Right now, we expanded the industrial park in North Lexington up here. Right now, all that's pretty much owned by the Industrial Development Board. You cannot find that marketed anywhere. Okay, the only way that you can actually find that property is if you are part of a select group through a portal through Austin Consulting Group. That is a problem. We're not able to reach out and find people because we don't have it out there available for people to actually look at. So we have to advocate for it better. We have to put it out there on the market and get it out there. Some people want to be very selective about who is allowed to come in here and put a factory or a warehouse or whatever it may be in the industrial park. We don't need to be selective about it. We need to allow people to come in because right now, so everybody understands, when it's on the Industrial Development Board or owned by the county or the city, we collect no taxes from it whatsoever. Right? And the pilot agreements that come in for the select few that it's given to, because it's not going to be given to just anybody, we once again don't collect the taxes from it. So we don't need to be selective. We need to get them off of our ownership and back onto somebody else's so that we can collect those taxes. The other things that we kind of talked about, so if there is more jobs available out here, economics shows that with more job supply and there is a limited demand, or there's more demand for people, right, that need to have employment or that they're seeking employment, your wages will naturally rise. Like I said, we do have a limited supply of people around here. So economics will work to where in the day if we have 100 people that are factory workers and we have 200 people that are seeking them, they're going to start lobbying for people by increasing wages so that you'll come to them instead of the other person. So we need to bring in whoever we can. Other than today, talking about too, most of the people that come to work at these factories. So when they do the pilot agreements, it is thought that we're going to recoup the money for people living here through their residential taxes or through their sales tax. Like you said earlier, most people that work here, it's like 70%-ish, come from out of town. They come from out of county. So we're not getting that taxes at all from it. And so that's hurting us because it's going back onto all of us. right? We're losing the taxes from the commercial side, just replacing them back on the residential side. All right, on the infrastructure, so yes, we have to have better infrastructure. That is why people are reluctant in my mind to develop here, because they look around and they're like, one, it's different. So I've actually bought the old cell phone up here, I bought only 10, and we're gonna run in their plan development and do some high-density residential, mixed-use commercial. Nonetheless, the problem is, it's a nightmare to try to find out what kind of infrastructure we have there. Where's the sewer lines at? Well, you don't know. What size water line is? Maybe we'll find out. That's a nightmare. When you come in here, people want to know very clearly, so they're not going on a wild goose chase. So we've got to bring that and make it clear and work with people. The subsurface sewage disposal. So that's a state law. So that is for septic tanks and stuff like that. Regardless if you have water or not, you have to have a permit for it. And so if you know that somebody's not doing that, you can turn them in, and like I said, they'll go out and investigate that. At the end of the day, that is a problem. You don't want sewer run out of your land and causing issues. On the title contract side of it too, so my thing is, you're talking about maximizing the value of the dollar we spend. We need to have better contracts written out there so that we can enforce what we're actually trying to attain, and make sure that when somebody does something that is subpar, we can go back after them. We can tell them we're not going to release payment until you fix it and do it right. And at the end of the day, one of the things that I would like to do is talk about the school system. This massive ice storm is a tremendous opportunity to get a lot of our school systems fixed. Because at the end of the day, it caused damage to a significant amount. They've had 4 claims filed on the county school side, the city school side filed one. They've all been denied except for one for just a little bit of interior damage. At the end of the day, it caused massive damage. We need to go out and maintain that. We've been paying for insurance for a long time, and these school systems, the roofs on them are very expensive. At the end of the day, we can't afford to do it, so that's why I'm trying to get in here and do. I was a large local consultant, worked in more than 20 states, dealt with insurance companies, worked for insurance companies and policyholders. I know how to read it, and I'm trying to come in and clear these results for us. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to move on to Sheriff's Department question. Okay, he's going to ask the mayor's name.
About 6 or 7 years ago, the county owned 77 acres here across the pass. TOD did $30,000 engineering on that land. The county decided to sell this for $500,000. We sit here talking about multi centers and all of that. You're halfway between Memphis, halfway between Nashville. It's been a wonderful place. I can't, this is a little sore spot for me, so I'm not going to get who's the fault of all this. But prior leadership throws away the golden opportunity, something like I'm telling you already. If you don't plan better for the future than what you have in the past, I don't know if you'll ever do any good with it.
Amen.
Should have sold it. Should have kept it in the progress, it should have kept. How many people we have to look at?
It's bad cheap to start with. 500,000, 77 acres.
It would not hurt.
Location.
It wouldn't work?
That would not hurt. That was the problem.
I said the infrastructure side was the problem.
Well, there's sewer that runs from the city of Lexington now. We didn't talk about 6 years ago. So there's no, like he's saying, there's no prior planning. I've actually got a plan in my office. It's a $14 million accident. And the proposed location, I think, where's Tanya? So Tanya's, we've been working on an ag center. Here's the problem with an ag center. I know where you're going with this. You can stop me. But we had a great location. He's 100% right. Marcus Crossroads is our front porch to the borough, basically, right? 4 lanes and all that. And Lexington doesn't need an ag center or a big event center. They don't have the space. You talk about traffic congestion. You know, that's where our county seat is. Where the majority of our population goes to Walmart like that. That would affect everyday traffic. Here at Marcus Crossroads would have been a phenomenal spot. We've got a plan, $14 million, but here's my reservation on it from a county mayor's spot. Why do I want to put that on the taxpayers' back? All of it. So it's called a public-private partnership. Find private partners that would be interested in coming here, and you offer different kind of deals. Offer TIF incentives, well, they can come and help develop some of the Crossroads area, extending some of these sewer lines. That's what TIFs are for. Infrastructure, things of that nature. The ideal location will be just over Sandy River, in between there and Charlotte Bottom. That's a decent spot. Traffic, you got 4-lane highway, it's wide open, visible. You talk about the line of sight, dealing with TDOT and all that. TDOT has regulations, you can't be so many feet from an intersection. It offers that incentive. But as a community, do we really want to pay $60 wheel tax for an event center? Potentially, if the right partners are involved, because it can bring hotel tax. Crossroads would change significantly.
I've looked into this. The cost of the event center is a dead expense
Yes,
in the county.
100%.
I want you to realize that before you even go. I've been to Lee County in Mississippi. You can go to car ramp where they got these places. That event center is a dead expense to the county. You can draw enough revenue off of it to keep it up, and that's about as good as you're going to do with it. But I want you to know those facts before you jump into it.
It's extremely expensive, and partnering with somebody, like I said, I'm not real big on government, like I said, doing that, just because it tends to look like a friends and family plan. Like, we're just going to allow a partnership with certain people and stuff like that. And the day, my view is really the government needs to have a lot of businesses. We need to foster an environment that people want to come here and invest and develop stuff, and we allow private people to spend that money. At the end of the day, if they think that they can have 100 different events there and make a bunch of money, by all means, let's give them an environment conducive to that, and allow them to do that. The problem with it right now here on Wildwood side, or Parker's Crossroads, is the infrastructure. The sewer line out here, from my understanding, is 2 inch force main, and it's about at capacity now. So if they don't have a new sewer plant that comes in soon, or closer to this area, and maybe do some type of partnership with Carroll County, I know Parks works on sewer as well. That would be about the only way. It's like 7 or 8 miles for our treatment facility. Right, exactly. And to resize that line over 7 or 8 miles is going to be extremely expensive. It crosses 2 swamps. It's going to be a nightmare. Okay? And so if they don't do some type of, like I said, actual infrastructure where we have a treatment facility closer by, I think that's the only way you can do it. Once again, there's things out there, but to be transparent, that's my big thing. I'm not trying to do that. I would want the voters that are local to take in and vote whether or not they can do it. Because you're going to have to look at it's an enterprise fund. How long are you going to appreciate that asset? What's the operational cost? And so you can put that out there for them to understand what's going to be your increase on your utility bill. If it's $200 or $300, people might market that like absolutely not. I'd much rather have my septic and keep low road out here. Other people may say, hey, I'm willing to take on that cost. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I think that's up to y'all to make that decision, not a select few on the board. So that's my vote.
Okay, we're going to have one more mayor question, and then we're going to try to wrap it up. Okay, sheriff. All right, fire away. So, whatever Wes says in the house. Okay?
All right, I appreciate just a few minutes. Just one little announcement. Most of you guys know me. My name is Michael Tate. I'm on District 1 School Board member and legislative liaison. Also secretary for the East County Republican Party. Coming up May 2nd, we're going to have our annual Lincoln Day dinner. Last time I counted, we have 56 people running in the primary, and I may be off on 1 or 2, but we have 56. There's a lot of people interested in running. To me, that's exciting. There's a lot of folks who want to get involved, and I highly encourage it. But the Lincoln Day dinner is an excellent event to come and talk to your local legislators, your state legislators, maybe even federal legislators. We'll have some in attendance, so we'd love to have each and every one of you come. It's going to be at 6 o'clock, May 2nd. It's a Saturday afternoon. It's going to be at the First United Methodist Church. So anything else, tickets will be ready here in the next several days. And we'll be calling, and we'd love for every candidate and everyone in this room to attend, because it's a great opportunity to meet and talk to representatives and state senators, maybe even some federal folks will be there. So we also know there's going to be, I promise I'm not going to talk about it, but we're going to have representatives from the state Republican Party there. So if you got a concern about qualified, no matter what side you follow, you can talk to them there. So it's a great opportunity to get face-to-face time with some of these people. So I do appreciate your time, and I'm going to hand it back off.
We thought of a sheriff's question for now? Somebody has.
I've always got one.
I'd like to address this answer
Is
question
the
a while
sheriff,
ago. I'd like to address this question a while ago, when you was talking about out here at Beaver School. That's where proactive policing comes in. You know, you never know who's gonna drive through here, drive off Interstate 40. You know, me and another investigator, we caught a guy over 40, 50 pounds driving right through that school system. And, that, you know, being proactive will mean a lot. It will slow everybody down, and you know, not just sitting out there with your blue lights on, but stopping cars.
But let me tell you, the state troopers do stop.
Oh, I know that.
But the sheriff's department does not.
But it can be changed. Also, you know, I have a lot of complaints, I know we're going to go a little bit nervous, but I have a lot of complaints about people being in neighborhoods, all neighborhoods in our communities, especially out south. There's a bad drug problem out south, it's been there forever. You can rest assured when I become sheriff, they'll be put on notice. It will happen the day I take office.
Can I respond to that? If everybody will watch Channel 7 News tonight, you can see what happened to some of the drug people in Henderson County.
Can I respond to that? It happens every election. It should. It should happen for here on. It shouldn't be just during an election.
It's been going on for 2 years. It's been going on for 2 years. We don't have a state budget. We got a county budget. Okay?
And drug-related stuff to bring in revenue.
Are you referring to that? The TriStar Hammer?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was on the 6 o'clock.
Tickets can bring in revenue.
is the sheriff's department?
Well, actually, like in highway patrol, tickets, go get it. I think the county just, Larry might be better on this. Our, if we wrote a speed ticket, highway patrol, the county gets the majority of that, not the state.
No,
Is that not very wrong?
it's the other way around.
We can only get $5 for every ticket, and it's for it.
I'm on state on that seatbelts and stuff.
Whenever I applied for it back in county, and I worked in Cal Fed, we only got $5 on 5 years to buy equipment. Now, what you're talking about is, and what the officer is talking about, is strengthening our traffic program. Building a traffic program, putting deputies out there stopping people, having proactive traffic enforcement to save lives. Okay? I was a crash reconstruction. For 5 years of my life, I woke up and we hours in the morning working favors all the time. Okay? I mean, everybody that was killed in the crash in Madison County on county roadways, I was the guy that investigated. I can tell you firsthand, traffic enforcement does save lives. Having that knowledge about why we have set speed limits. There's roads out here that's 55 miles an hour that's not posted. We need to work with the highway department, setting speed limits that are safe for our roadways, and putting deputies out there enforcing. That's how we put it in. That's how we slow people down. Holding speeders accountable for their actions. Not every traffic stop's going to end with a ticket, but we can use it as an education stop. And you look beyond the stop, and look at criminal activities such as stolen property, narcotics trafficking, human trafficking. My guy stopped a van full of illegals a couple years ago on I-40. We just made the county line with Henderson County. Ain't even big being sex trafficked across this country. It led to investigation, led to 3 different states. It comes through our community. We got to enforce it, both on the interstate and on our local streets and county roads. We've got to develop a traffic program that help these complaints we're having about speeders.
Is the Henderson County Sheriff's Department adequate funding? I'm not asking, you asked that open-ended, everybody's going to say, I always need more money. But can we make a better department with the money in the budget that we have allocated to it at this time?
They're very connected. Always.
I recommend anybody.
I'll answer that, no. 6.4 million, the most of that money is eat up by that jail. You got 214 bed facility up there. There's 225 people in it now. It's been built in we moved in 2010. thing falling apart. We just had to go to the commission, they put money out for something, for a tilt skillet to cook food. You can't, it can work, we can manage it. But tickets, do y'all want to pay tickets? They're talking about citizens in Henderson County, they're writing y'all tickets, speed.
No, Larry, I didn't say tickets. I'm talking about drug cases.
Drug cases.
That stuff is different, but y'all should get this drug.
But the budget, you asked the question, the budget, no, it is a small budget. I'll promise you that, it is a small budget.
No. Yes, some people in Harrison County need tickets, but I tell you right now, you pull out of Barnesville Road, most of those from the 6 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning, that's give or take when I leave, it's Carroll County or Weakley County. That's the majority of the people that are flying over the hill. If you lived out here, you would know. There's a hill there. And it hides if you've been out here.
I've seen it, yes.
And that's where the accidents happen.
Yes, sir. We just worked one today.
And I'll tell you right now, the ones out there, the school, the bigger school, in the morning, yes, they are Henderson County. But then you got the logging trucks. Then you got the bridal trucks. And they call back and forth to each other and up there's deputy around. And they know they're not going to get a ticket.
That's why we're so important to have a traffic program, education program. One of the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, I was a network coordinator for this 5 years. I helped other counties and other municipalities get grants on traffic safety. And to start the education program, there's three pamphlets for everybody that we give out to people about the importance of distracted driving, DUI, you name it, there's grants out there for it. So that's what we need to start focusing on.
I would add, I went to Grant Riley School for those type of grants and got them and helped when we were here. And she's thinking I was telling the truth. On the budget we got now, we're doing just about all we can do. It's bare bones. You're running the entire county with full staff, 4 people at a time during the day, 5 people at a time during the night. And that's when we're full staff. When's the last time we've been full staff? We've got to fix that terrible problem, whatever it is. Grants are going to help. It'll help. One man don't know all the answers. I said that at the high school. One man don't know all the answers. You find somebody says they do, and I think they're not lying, they're just wrong. But no, we can do a whole lot more than what we're doing.
With the grants, we have a lot with the grants. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of equipment that we need and we don't have. Just about the majority of the deputies in the vehicles does not have radar guns. The way to do that. We need equipment. We need to get this done. We need to get grants in here to get the equipment we need.
You talk about traffic stops, majority of my felony cases, all my cases I made, that radar was never on. It's stopping and talking. So you also can catch people, if you said want to go fly through there, man, you can see you in the school zone, you're running past the 20 mile an hour. You know, you don't gotta have just radar. It helps. If you're out here making traffic stops and you're looking for reckless drivers, I mean, it's common sense. You see it with your own eyes. You know, the video camera helps. You can hit play, record, video it. That'll hit you in court. But I do agree with him over there, you know, just stopping the car and talking to them sometimes about all they need. You stop a 16-year-old, I'd rather call their parents and deal with this. And I have done this. This is on you, and this is on me. I'll educate them if you don't.
All right, we always try to get out of here about 8. As the youngest one in Roseanne, I know a lot of these guys are almost sort of older than me, but they are, you know. And they like to get in bed and
It's like a motion we adjourn.
I would let's stand up and give all the candidates that came tonight.
All right, I've got a lot of things out of this myself tonight, it's been very beneficial to me. One thing I have noticed is there's a lot of compassion in this county for doing the right thing. I think if we all could work together, it'll be a lot better county in the future than it has been in the past. Good night, and be safe.